This week's episode of Pokémon Generations is brought to you by Drayden's beard. Drayden's beard. It'll turn you into a sexual tyrannosaur. This week's episode of Pokémon Generations got all Batman and Robin on us, and the only reason I say that is because Team Plasma is in town and they're going to freeze the city just like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a massive attack from the Icy Dragon Kyurem. This episode was freaking awesome. It's amazing that this short anime series can sometimes look better than the actual Pokémon movies. That opening scene when the Liepard are attacking the city and probably killing thousands of people in the process is honestly kind of shocking looking. But when Haxorus gets in there and then just starts tearing it up, it just completely blew my mind. I especially love the scene which was all done in one single motion where he's jumping through the air, dodging the Liepard, jumps down on the ground, swings his tail around, smacks the crap out of a couple of them, grabs another one by the freaking jugular, and then just tosses it up in the air, looking like a badass, posing like a member of the Ginyu Force with Drayden right at the end. It was just satisfying as hell. The other part of the episode, of course, is that Team Plasma is looking for the Gene Splicer, which is this MacGuffin item from the game which you use to transform Kyurem and fuse him with the other dragons from those games. We don't get to see that in action in this one. We might get to see it come to fruition in the next episode, however. We also get to see the return of Colress, the brand new leader of Team Plasma, who hilariously enough actually just made an appearance in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I can't wait to see what else he's going to do in the story. He just sort of like appeared randomly on like Route 8, so check it out if you're playing that game. It was a strange moment. Just like his game counterpart, he experiments on Pokemon, all in the name of science and learning about their true evolutionary methods, as well as utilizing their incredible destructive power. They've actually placed Kyurem in this massive tube and utilized its Ice Dragon abilities to completely just freeze this city in one fell swoop. It's beautifully horrific. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Pokémon Generations? It's amazing the dark places that the Pokemon anime series can go to when it really wants to. I mean, there's always been evidence to this when you play the games and reading the Pokedex and getting to see all the really messed up things that they say about the Pokemon and the things that they actually do to people. But honestly, it is people that make the Pokemon worse. It's always the villains who push their Pokemon to destroying humanity and reforming it. That always seems to be the format of almost every single Pokemon game, where they utilize some sort of legendary Pokemon to just bring about some great destruction. And you got to see a lot of that in this episode, not to mention the firing squad of Liepard at the beginning of the episode, which to me was just very shocking. You got to see that the city was full of people. The streets were full, and they were effectively all being blasted with these massive just attacks. It was insane. And it was all saved, of course, when Drayden and his dragons came in, which I'm glad they brought Drayden back because he is easily one of the coolest looking gym leaders. Maybe my favorite gym leader. He might be tied with another one, but that's a discussion for another day. That's something that I have on the back burner. What I will say is this was a great action-packed episode of Pokémon Generations, which featured some of the most fluid action that I've seen and just lots of great grandiose moments. This episode seemed bigger than a lot of the other episodes from the series, and it was all self-contained with one location, so I think that's honestly like a really big accomplishment. It also just helped that all the Pokemon looked really cool and fought in a just very extreme and hardcore way, in ways that you don't typically see in the Pokemon anime series. Awesome episode. I freaking loved it. I want to go watch it like 10 more times. If you have not watched the episode, I'll put a link for it in the description box below. And if you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it. I really loved the episode, so I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. But maybe you think differently. Maybe you didn't really care for this episode. But if you did like it or you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments section below. What do you think of the character of Drayden? And what about Team Plasma? Do you think they're a really good villainous team? Or are you more of a Team Rocket or Team Skull kind of person? Maybe even the Ether Foundation. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to sub and like and leave me a comment or two. I will see you next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.